How's it going, everybody? It's Coshade, and I'm bringing you another tournament game from our Elementalist Monk tournament. This is a playtester tournament, so it's the playtesting was completely public, and so was this tournament here. And basically, the idea is that we're trying to have tournaments so that people can bring their A game to everything, so that there is a prize pool, and basically you get a free set when this comes out. So it's kind of exciting. And if anyone isn't aware of the playtesting that's going on right now, basically this is the final set for Arena that's coming out, and it's hard to say that it's a full set because it has a lot of promo cards in it that were previously unreleased. It's a lot of updated rules to make sure the balancing goes well, things like that. And we're gonna go ahead and set this in times 2 just to make it happen faster. But this is a game between Keejchen and Zot, and I believe it's a semifinals match. Um, so this is one right before the finals, and whoever wins this obviously is going to have a chance for championship. And we're gonna give him a second to set up before we go to higher, times tiers and stuff like that. But Keejchen, talk about these players here really quick. Keejchen is definitely a long game player. You'll often see him play what is. Oh no, hide his cards. Um, you'll often this is a replay from Keejchen. You'll often see him play him, like maybe get a little bit extra spawn points than most players, or maybe a little bit of extra mana generation per round, and he tries to just get an edge slowly over time. And usually the games where he dies is because he gets hit with a timing attack earlier. And that means basically he gets hit with someone that basically rose their power to be really high one level. It's before Keejchen really is able to catch up. So Za playing the Siren, interesting choice. Siren's actually, interestingly enough, what I've noticed in public, considered one of the worst mages in Mage Wars, but also one of the most played in tournaments. And I don't know exactly why that is. Maybe people just want to make Siren work, or maybe there's something like elusive to the Siren that this like when it does work, it works really well, and you sort of want to catch that drive there. But this is a play test in terms, so we have ice cards, we have promo cards like Leviathan coming out. So there is a whole bunch of new options. Of course, there's Harmonize for the shell, which is now Harmonize the song. So we could see a lot coming out of the Siren here, and it's kind of exciting to see what happens here. And of course, Keejchen playing the Wizard. Of course, the Wizard does have an update to have a 2-cost zap, and I'm pretty sure even though he's using the wrong card, he actually does do the 2 cost in the zap. Also, this Siren should be channel 10, as you see from Zot here, because all mages being channel 10 is one of the things talked about here. Honestly, it's been something that's been talked about since, like 2015-16 in tournaments. A lot of the feedback from like German nationals we get are just like, yeah, you pretty much can't win with 9-channel in most serious tournaments. It's been going on for a long time. But anyway, we do see the Gate of Voltari Mana Shard play here, trying to get a ton of economy from Keejchen here. And interesting, Za playing the Sunfire Amulet and the Leather Helmet. Sunfire Amulet's probably one of the most complementary spells for Siren, because obviously the 30 life is problematic, and having that extra mana every round, maybe there's some sort of specific build that Zot's going for here. Really exciting. And Mana Shard, it kind of guarantees that your Gate of Voltari is going to work. I mean, not quite guaranteed, but like your opponent's probably going to cast one spell around. Like, unless they're saving up for some giant creature, which maybe happens one round, like they're most likely gonna get it. So this should have actually 1, 2, I believe 3, 4. Did he cast the Sunfire before this? 1, 2. Oh no, he gave it to his. He gave the Mana Shard to his Wizard. Never mind. Ha. So yeah. Anyway. So Siren, I love this Sunfire Amulet play because a lot of people when they think of economy, they think of the mana generation, action generation, but this is the only, I believe, card that you can actually get a life economy going. And this sort of puts a clock on the wizard, just because that life is just going to keep getting bigger, so you need to address it. Whereas a lot of wizards, they're going to stay back and build up an army for a while. Um, and interestingly enough, we see Zot advance forward, getting himself another 2 armor. Leviathan skill, usually indicating that it's some sort of a solo-ish, like, attack-focused mage. But of course, it's in school for the Siren, so it could just be that. And also a preemptive Wand of Healing. Interesting. So he's like, okay, you're probably going to hit me with Acid Ball. Let's be honest, maybe stuns. So I'm going to just get this wand out early. And he might be trying to get Keejchen to sort of take a bait and get you to dissolve to get in range earlier of something. But interesting play. Keejchen playing the Battleforge again. Honestly, when it comes to Wizard, Gate Battleforge is my style as well. Keejchen adding in this mana shard is really interesting to me. A lot of players do go for a little bit extra mana generation. So it's just sort of eeping out a little bit more than I'm usually comfortable with, but I like the play here. And of course, that gate getting 4 mana, it's insane the mana generation that this gate can get. And it's like one of those things where, like, you look at like Elementalist generation, and like it's sort of interesting watching how the other like insane spawn points that exist sort of get that sort of extra mana in that sort of sense. And that being said, talking about the Siren here, it's very tough to make a Siren that doesn't have a spawn point work. And a lot of players choose to do Naya. The shell is becoming pretty common, or a Battleforge. Not having anything means, Zod has 24 mana here. So, you could expect some big creatures. Or I guess he could get a shell now, but it might be a little bit too late for that. Or he could be just going all out attack spells. He could easily just move 1 and just do some surging waves or something like that. Take this out early. He's going to take a little bit of damage, but he has the armor to mitigate some of that. It's kind of interesting. And of course, Keejchen going for the extra mana, the Will-O-Wisp amulet. I'm not actually a fan of Will-O-Wisp, but I get it. I know why a lot of players like it. Oh, man. And of course, Keejchen enchanted himself a little bit more. And the Leviathan does come out. We have seen the Leviathan in previous Octagon tournaments. But it's the first time we're seeing Zot, actually, I believe, in, I want to say an online tournament, but maybe I could be wrong there. So it's really interesting to see how he's going to use this big dude. Zot, his playstyle is definitely aggressive. I've been in a lot of tournaments with Zot, and he knows how to hit timings that are perfect. And so this sort of interaction with Keejchen might be actually problematic for him. Because basically, like, think about it this way, right? Oh, geez, I can see the cards. My bad. Like, Keejchen spent all his mana on this mana generation stuff, but now Zot has this 22 mana, damage dealer with something else on him. And, when it comes to offensive creatures, he's got 14. Keejchen has 14 mana worth of creatures out. And so, having that all compiled into one big guy, that can actually, like, really just, like, slowly whittle down everything your opponent has. And if you just support in buddy builds certain creatures, you can actually sort of, like, I guess what it is like, each strategic move is important, because you need to hit the right spots if you want to actually gain an advantage with a buddy build like this. And so, like, the big thing for Keejchen now is going to be trying to mitigate that with dazes and stuns, which there's already a Wand of Healing. Nice job. Or trying to kill it, of course. Or just trying to, I don't know, mitigate it again through, like, teleportation, stuff like that. Interesting. So he has an intercept creature out. Against Leviathan, Gargo's okay. 11 mana, you're probably going to get at least 2 to 3 hits out of this Leviathan in order to kill it. So it's a little bit of an interesting choice. 11 mana to try and, react to it. Oh, and the lesser teleport, leading into the Ballad of Courage, getting rid of the slow with the fast rate, and getting +2 is a 9 dice piercing 2 creature. 9 dice go in, 10 damage is rolled. Piercing 2 getting right through that. And again, this is actually pretty normal for buddy builds. I mean, think about it this way, right? His entire action with this creature was used on something that did damage, but didn't actually really affect the board. So this is Keejchen's time to sort of react to that. I'm not going to check what that is. And these little gremlins, they're going to just jump in, and they're going to really try to hammer it here. If Zot can take the gate out and the Battleforge out and manage to mitigate damage as much as possible here, he could actually just slowly whittle down his opponent. That being said, buddy builds are tough to work. So I'm curious to see what Zot's going to do with his next few rounds. And these gremlins go in, they do roll some crits. Actually pretty good crits. I mean, with the piercing, it does, not really matter that much. But Leviathan having 5 damage out of 24, that puts him at 19. And, generally with Leviathan, I think once you get to 15 remaining life, so, about 9 damage, you need to just start healing him, honestly. I mean, you could do other things such as, we have a Hoodwink down. Interesting. Huh. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, Hoodwink is basically free mana in a lot of ways. A lot of people use the mana ring for this because of the meta magic. But Hoodwink's one of those really interesting spells that I keep checking that. I'm so sorry. It's one of those really interesting spells that I don't know if it actually gives you a big advantage, but I suppose if you're doing nothing else with your mage, you might as well. Would it have been better for him to use a zap? Maybe, but I guess we'll have to see what Keejchen does with his mana to really judge how that worked out for him. Gate going back to 4 mana. Interesting that he chose. Did he put the shard on this? Because I would think on the wizard would be a better choice, but whatever. It's not really a big deal. And there's 2 mana in this Battleforge, so we're probably going to see something else come out of here. And I keep checking. I'm so sorry, crowd. So this is a really weird part here, right? He did 10 damage to this gate, but now we're probably going to start seeing a guarding sentry. So the question is, as Zot, do you try to get this gargoyle out of the way, or do you do something like a sweeping strike or a battle fury on the Leviathan, and try to outwardly just kill the sentry? Which, I mean, 2 to 3 hits, yeah. Or do you, I don't know, just try to sidestep killing this gate altogether? Using the fast rate and just kill this forge. Because he only has this one more round, and charge only happens if you actually, charge. It's sort of a weird dynamic here because, I mean, I guess the right move would probably be for Zot to charge this Battleforge. Probably kill it in 1 hit, 9 dice piercing 2. Yeah, he'd probably kill it. And then with his mage, maybe try attack spelling this to death. But this is kind of one of those key turns right now, where if he does not kill this gate, I mean, the mana's already kind of running away for Keejchen, but I mean, that 10 dice, not actually affecting the board, but instead just using an action and then affecting it rounds later, it could actually be deterring his whole thing, his whole play here. So we do see the Gorgon Archer come out. Really nice play against buddy builds. Any sort of weaks you can get, just solid. And Gloves of Skill, of course, we saw that because that was awful. And I mean, Arcane Zap, I personally like using a Varium Longbow with the wizard. There's so many reasons that Gloves of Skill is good. With the wizard specifically. We see out of the Siren a Shallow Sea come out. Probably means that the Leviathan isn't going to be killing this Battleforge. Also, with the Archer out, moving over to kill this Battleforge creates issues with that as well. And Keejchen countering with the Dense Fog. So this probably means that we're going to see Leviathan go after this Battleforge then. Dense Fog is one of those really interesting spells that, is exactly what Keejchen's play wants. It basically says, you want to kill this, I'm not going to let you kill it. So, therefore, I'm buying another round, getting an extra 3 to 4 mana, and another creature. And it's going to mitigate your entire game here. Looks like Zod is going to go for the Surging Wave and the Battle Forge, rolling 6 dice, getting 2 damage. That's about average. The roll was a little weird, but it ended up average. I mean, I guess 3 would have been normal because you expect, well, 4 armor. I can usually consider 1 armor to 1 damage per die, but it's actually a little bit less or more than that. So Leviathan here is a tough choice. Does he kill this Battleforge, or does he basically just guard here? And if he goes after that Battleforge, Zot's probably going to have to spend a lesser teleport to just not get a week, or maybe plan to get the week off when this Gorgon attacks the Leviathan. So there's a huge dynamic here that's happening. Let's see what exactly he does here. This is a lot of things. We're in ×2 speed here. He does choose to guard. Interesting. Okay. Well, the Ballad's going to go away, so he's not going to have that extra 2 dice anymore. Wizard just does a straight punch. 4 damage rolled. The 3 armor mitigating that because, the leather helmet mitigates the chest wound of a punch. And it looks like what we have here is Keejchen starting, in my opinion, to gain an edge. Because if we look at overall, like, what's on the field, 7, 14, 25, 37 versus, a 22 mana creature. I mean, obviously there's more complexity here because we have conjurations and, we have equipment here. But, I mean, Keejchen's really starting to get a mana edge on this battlefield. So the question here now is, can Zot still use this giant creature to mitigate what's on the field? Because, like, basically, this is like exactly what Keejchen's style is, and that is establish an early economy, take board control, and then let your economy win you the game. And so it basically mitigates the chances of losing. Like, even if you get like 1 or 2 bad dice rolls, you can still just win. And I do want to point out that Zot really doesn't have the economy to make up for what happens in these next few rounds. Leather Helmet comes out. This Leather Helmet's a promo card that came out a long time ago that is basically just getting released now. And helmets were just kind of very tough to use before this, so everyone just does the 1 armor now. We do see Najama go down on Leviathan, and then a quick teleport spending 9 mana. This is oftentimes extremely brutal, but Zot with the quick thinking, getting the Arcane Ward down. Brilliant play from Zot, really reading this whole thing. Keejchen does get that 9 mana back, because Arcane Ward is basically a super cheap counterspell. Counter's a weird word for it, but I guess it counters it. But now we have to deal with, this guarding gargoyle here. And so the question is, what's Leviathan going to do? I mean, Keejchen could theoretically play like a... Oh, I don't know. I mean, I guess he could try and play some sort of like Eagle Wings, but it would still be restrained, right? Because it's a non-aquatic, non-mage, and this guy's rolling 8 dice, and it's getting 1 dice rolled against him less. So it's a little tough right now. Instead, it looks like Organ Archer is going to attack the Siren. A good choice here. You might as well get some damage somewhere. And, getting weaks onto the Siren might cause him to just start having to use the Wand of Healing here. And that just creates, like, more complexity that Keejchen's sort of weaving with his strategy. The weaks. And this is kind of a classic, wizard kind of play. Get the Gorgon. Some people choose to get the jellies out. Because corrodes add complexity as well. It looks like we have a guard marker on the Gremlin. He does not want to attack into this Leviathan. Interesting play. Keejchen's going to pay 2 mana for the zap, revealing the Hawkeye. He gets 2 damage, but he's going to use that Gloves of Skill to reroll that, getting 2 damage total, putting Leviathan up to 7. And there is a guard here. So this is not going to let him attack the gate. Can he go around the gate? Oh, they're restrained. Yeah. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. My bad. I always forget that the restrained thing is also that. But anyway, we see the gate go down. The big question is it too late? And a lot of Leviathan plays, oftentimes by the time they kill the spawn point, it's a little bit too late. But I don't know, actually. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of good creatures here. Question is, does Leviathan just kill off these guys one by one? Or, does Zot then try to kill the Battleforge with another Surging Wave? That's probably the play I would go with here. And then really what you want, in my opinion, now is the Battle Fury follow-up. So you can just get this extra die constantly, own this entire zone, and then make it work. 4 damage rolled on this Gremlin, putting this Leviathan up to 11 out of 24. Starting to get in that danger zone. Anyway, Siren does move in. I don't blame Zod here. He wants to get that regen 1 from the Siren stat card. It's really what the Siren's made of. And it looks like he's going to set... Oh, yeah. So he's going to use the Wand of Healing to heal. And he ends up healing 1 from that. So he's going to go back up to full from the regen. Interesting move. Not to actually melee something. Regardless, we see the Gargoyle go in, try to do Stonefist. I actually disagree with what Keejchen's doing here. That being said, I think it's fine. I don't think it's so bad that I would say, it's terrible. But anyway, he's just trying to get any sort of extra damage he can, which is important, looks like he actually chose to heal that Leviathan, which I totally agree with that play. I think that's probably the best play you could do here. Looks like he's going to gain 1 life and then set. Sometimes the Octagon prompts are a little odd here. I'm not sure if he just gained 1 this round or not. As he's on turn 7. So no, he just gained 1. He's at 36. It's round 7, so round 2, yeah. Sometimes it doesn't give this Zot sets up. Sometimes it does, I think. Or it could just be the older versions that I'm thinking of. So anyway, killing that gate. This is why Mana Shard's a little weird, is that now this mana is kind of going to nothing. I would argue that spending the 1 extra mana might have made up a difference, and just so, Keejchen just kept making extra mana now. But I think he might have been able to get 1 less creature out if he did that. So, I'm not really nitpicky enough to say that which one's better right now, honestly. That being said, Keejchen has 18 mana, Zot has 17. The board, I still think, is in Keejchen's favor. That being said, the cards that Zot chooses, which are not long-term play cards, in my opinion, what he should be choosing, but instead things that are heavy incantation or attack spell focused, that's really what Zot needs to be doing here. And Keejchen just needs to keep laying on minor damage and mitigating any sort of healing that this Leviathan can have. Because once this Leviathan's dead, the Siren is most likely dead here. It's just killing the Leviathan that's usually the problem. That's why it's kind of an interesting card, I guess. I mean, Siren is kind of all about giant creatures and stuff, so I feel like the Leviathan kind of fits that whole theme really well with her. I mean, pirates are another thing, but that sort of thing. Things from the deep. We're just waiting for them to finish planning. Let's go ahead and just times 25 this. Okay, we're going to see a Mage 1 come out for Keejchen. Always a dangerous thing to have. Mage 1 is, of course, epic for our playtesting rules. And I don't think anyone disagreed with this choice. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 people that, did, but and they were vocal about it. But pretty much everyone says that Mage 1 epic is what's needed. And I agree with it, too. Honestly, it's one of those things that Here we go, the Battle Fury play on Leviathan. Leviathan going for the Gorgon Archer. Easy going to kill this thing in one hit. We see 8 dice getting rolled, 9 damage going through. A second attack happening. This is a 5-mana spell. Second tap going through, 7 dice. It should be 8. It's melee plus 1. And he does roll just enough to kill that Gorgon Archer. Beautiful play there. And there is the 3-mana teleport, getting it out of that zone. And of course, we're going to see the gremlins just start running in. 2 damage goes on this Leviathan, putting it at half life. I'll finish my train of thought in a second here. Meanwhile, Zot's like, I need to take out your Battleforge. This is way too big of a deal. Rolling 6 dice, getting 4 damage off of that. Killing that Battleforge. Very nice play from Zot here. It's going to take out all the economy for Keejchen, but is it too late? Looks like we see a retreating, interesting move here. Retreating Keejchen. Probably doesn't want to get sucked into any sort of teleport shenanigans against this Leviathan. He's going to let his creatures do the work. We are at the end of the round now. Interesting plays. Zot's going to go up to 37 life on a Siren. 0 damage now because of that regeneration. Leviathan's at half damage. Everyone else is pretty much clean. And Keejchen losing his economy, that's another big blow. Now, the question is, what does Keejchen have to follow up? We've reached a mid-game where we've had reactions to a lot of the early game stuff. And, Keejchen just saying, I am doing this. Can you stop it? And then Zot dismantling some big pieces. And it's sort of like a... It's actually a really, this is a really interesting mid-game. I was going to say before. Oh, yeah, Mage Wand. So Mage Wand basically epic. So you can't just keep swapping them out for other Mage Wands or having 4 of them. You dissolve 1, and you know you're not going to deal with 4 heals throughout the whole game. That being said, the Siren chooses to push herself down 1, wanting to get rid of that Mage Wand. We are going to see a Crumble go down, using a full action, only paying the 3 mana for that. And then we see, of course, the Gremlin go, and we're going to see a little bit more chipping damage go down. Chipping by, of course, Keejchen's Gremlin rolling insane damage, going up to 16. And, of course, we're going to see this Leviathan move over to the left one. And this Gremlin's just going to say, you know what, I'm going after your Siren. I might as well get free damage in. He has 3 armor, but is that big of a big deal? Getting 3 damage from that. A second Gorgon Archer. So we move down here because he's like, I want the range so that when you move in this zone, I'm going to weak you no matter what. Looks like we do see Keejchen. He's going to pay the 2 mana. Rolling 4 dice, getting an extra 2 damage to that Siren. That passive damage, if Zot chooses to retreat into the Shallow Sea to get that regen, that's worth it. Because now you know exactly where that Siren's going to end up. And Gorgon Archer being placed here, Zot really has to expose his Siren more. That being said, 5 damage isn't necessarily a lot to worry about. But it's... What's Keejchen's plan here is just slowly whittle away. Because you have 2 big targets. And then once you kill one of them, the game's either over or it's going to end relatively soon. That being said, you could always take 2 Leviathan, I suppose. But it's a little expensive. But usually when you take out 1, it's very tough to actually follow through with saving up the mana and surviving everything else. That's usually the issue. Because you're talking like over 2 rounds of channel, a little bit more. And in that time, they have 2 rounds of channel on you. And so they just kill you a lot of times. So that being said, Keejchen has 12 mana. Zot's at 21. I'm picturing he's probably going to want to teleport this and try to kill this Gorgon Archer. Like, teleport the Gorgon Archer into the zone here. The Shallow Sea zone. He could also just try to attack spell, I suppose. But I think whatever Zot is trying to do right now, he has to do 2 things. Heal this Leviathan. It being at 16, it's, as I said, usually around 8 damage. 8 or 9 damage when he's at like 15 left remaining life. You just start healing it. But if you put all your focus towards that, which he has the mana to do both here, then the weeks are going to start stacking up. So what I'd like to see out of here is a teleport into the Shallow Sea Zone, and then a heal spell or a Song of Healing, whatever Siren choice you made here. Wand of Healing. Okay, I play Priest as my main, and Wand of Healing is one of those spells that you always have to use because you're trying to just get slight edges over damage. And you need to have, in my opinion, like a good backing of actions, like Battle Forges, Cassiel, temples if you're a priest, um, in order to really make this work. So I'm wondering the Siren, he doesn't really have that. And we see right away Gorgon Archer applying a weak to this Leviathan. Not a big deal at first, but this can stack up. Also gets a damage through, which is really nice. We are going to see a Renewing Spring. This is a huge play from Zot that I've actually seen from him a lot. This is probably one of his trademark cards, I'd call. Leviathan is going to drink from this spring, and he actually rolls 3 dice and gets max healing out of that. Holy cow, this spell is so good. That being said, it took his entire action to do this. Is he going to pay the mana to remove the condition? He does choose to do that. Where's this mana? I think that's him paying the mana. Hang on a second. Okay, so he is weakened. He removes the weak, spends 6 mana, drinks from the spring. How did he remove the weak? I didn't see him pay for the removal of weak there. I don't know if that might be a misstep from Zod here. Anyway, he's going to pay 2 mana and he's going to enchant this creature here. Maybe I missed it from something, I don't know. But basically when you remove it, you have to pay the removal cost, which it's a little pricey. So Keejchen's going to go, okay, you only have so many springs. It's out of school for you. So let's just kill this spring really quick. It is a deed that is harder to do than he said. That being said, he rolls half damage off of 4 dice. That reroll Gloves of Skill is so good on Wizard. Getting 6 damage in this Renewing Spring. And this is a little dangerous for Keejchen. That being said, he's just going to keep zapping in the zone. And, this Leviathan can't move out of the zone and live. So he's just going to have to keep, slurping up this Renewing Spring in the Shallow Sea. It must be a kind of a pretty sight with a Mana Shard here, too. But, there's going to be constant Gorgon Archer shots here. And that being said, the Sunfire Amulet adding up in the Siren's life. Zot still has a lot of mana, too. But Keejchen's getting a lot of mana now. This is sort of, getting into this weird, interesting scenario where it's okay, we can kind of counter each other, but Keejchen, I think, can gain an edge in the long run. So it really depends on what card Zot has to see if this works or not. So let's go ahead. Let's make this times 25 with a plan. Or they're not done? And are they going to be done? There we go. Okay, times 2. So Siren is going to use her quick cast marker. We get the leather pants on, putting her up to 4 armor. We are going to see another Arcane Zap here. Rolling 5 damage on 4 dice. Still really good. Not enough to kill it. So we spent a total of 4 mana trying to kill this thing so far. Oh, but he does use the Gloves of Skill, and he does get extra damage out of that. Super lucky roll for Keejchen. Very nicely done. I spent a total of 4 in order to kill this, where statistically it should have been 6 to kill the 6 cost Renewing Spring. Granted, it would have been actions. That being said, we're going to see the Archer immediately follow up with the main action. Rolling 1 damage is pretty good, but also getting that weak down. Super harsh. And now, Zot's basically going to have to say more Renewing Springs or using his actions to get rid of a condition marker or healing. And none of that is easy. And we're going to see the Gargoyle Sentry Guard here. Probably just trying to use it for intercept. Or not intercept. Intercept. But probably just using it to try to say, okay, you need to get away from me. And Keejchen is done. These gremlins don't want to move in here, probably because of this trap here. I actually would say that, well, it's probably a good move to chill for a second. I mean, he's got this whole outrange area, and if all Zod is going to do is chill here, like, why does Keejchen really care about that? Honestly. The Devouring Jelly does come out. Again, adding the complexity of extra condition markers. And that's really the death of like solo or buddy builds, is if you just overrun them with condition markers, they can't really keep up. A Gremlin does sacrifice itself to get rid of this hydrothermal vent. Since this Leviathan already guarded, you can actually dodge this. So we're probably going to see this dodge roll happen. We're going to see it. Yep, here's the dodge roll. It does fail. So a 5-die attack is going to go in. 1 armor. Probably deal okay damage. 3 damage going on that gremlin. Putting it around half. But it does get dazed as well. And, daze going, affecting your defense roll. This means it's a prime target for next round. Because a 10 up, obviously your Leviathan's like, I will gobble this right now. It's not going up to 40 life here. That's a lot. And, guarding with this Leviathan, man, it's just so frustrating whenever you have to guard with your creature that needs to just be like, basically like Godzilla swiping everything to the side to try and just like gain an advantage. And, Zot spending his actions with this Wand of Healing, getting rid of the weaks from the Gorgon, that's just like eating into his actions. And that being said, Zot has 28 mana. How's he going to use that? Because attack spells can really influence this game a lot. Let's go ahead and times 25 this. There we go. And we do see the Pillar of Light go down. This is, of course, an errata card. Super fan. I mean, the community has all just talked about this card being insane. There are, of course, disagreements, which are valid, I would say. But, I mean, just, this is a community playtesting set. And honestly, I have to agree with this card needing to be changed. I still think it's really good. Anyway, we see some damage go onto this Leviathan from the pillar, and then another one from the Gorgon, but of course a weak sticking as well. I mean, tough -3 is pretty good, but still the weak is pretty dang good with the archer. And we're going to see a Hail of Stones out of Zot. Interesting play here. He's going to try and just, cripple this zone here. We see the Nullify get revealed. Interesting. I don't actually know what happened here. But regardless, we have a 4 armor Gargoyle. He's going to take 2 damage. We have a Dazed and 4 damage on this Devouring Jelly. That's insane from a rock roll, by the way. And what happened to this Wizard here? Looks like the Wizard's going to take a couple damage. That being said, we're going to see a crumble happen on the Wand of Healing. I believe he gets that for free. Yep, he got it for free. Just an action. And the question is those weeks going to start stacking up now? We do see... Oh, interesting. A dodge happen. The dodge does fail. That being said... Oh, man, this is so brutal. The Leviathan does roll 7 dice. Gets 0 damage out of that. Retaliates with his claws. Is so dazed he can't retaliate. I mean, this is this happens with buddy builds, and it's why Keejchen, I think, plays the longer game in that sense, because he just wants to mitigate those bad dice rolls. Because honestly, it doesn't matter what mage you or what style you play. Sometimes you just have bad rolls, and the question is, how do you mitigate enough? Keejchen's been using the skill Gloves of Skill, but Zot's just trying to gain that early edge with this, and we're seeing just a bunch of creatures move in and just start like hammering on this Leviathan. Leviathan goes up to 20 damage. And this is probably the biggest issue with Buddy right now. Is this moment right here. And this is really well played by Keejchen. Leviathan's at 23 now out of 24. And we have a Pillar of Righteous Flame. Probably going to kill it here. You know, you'll probably get 1 crit out of this. And then we have a 41 life Siren left over here. So let's see what happens with this. I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward a little bit. Go. Right away, we see immediately the dissolve happening on this Hail of Stones. This is I mean, Zod had a good plan to get rid of his mana, and that was just, you know, bombard everything with high dice spells for low mana cost. I mean, it is 8 mana for 4 dice, but, you know, you hit 2 targets, it's worth it. You hit 3 targets, and you benefited. Interesting. Okay, Leviathan is going to be able to attack one more time. I might have missed earlier this thing attacking this. Not exactly sure what happened there. That being said, Devouring Jelly is going to go in, and he's just going to finish it off, dealing the corrodes, and of course he's going to be able to regenerate a little bit. And interestingly enough, the Leviathan gets devoured by the jelly. Imagine this giant jelly now, just with a Leviathan. I'm just like, I digest you slowly. This is phase 2. It looks like of Zot's play here. I dig this Ballad of Courage. Can't be hindered. Getting charged to and fast. Trident is actually an insanely good weapon. That being said, there is no Trident. It's just fists and a charge and a dream. Getting 5 damage on this Gorgon Archer. Very nice play here. We see the wizard starting to retreat a little bit. And then enchanting this wizard with something. Claws going in. We see a fast teleporting gremlin trying to keep pace, dealing a damage. We're going to see this basically be a dog pile onto the Siren now because it's a solo mage. Gremlin going in, dealing a little bit above the damage, so getting 1 damage through this 4 armor. Yep, 4 armor. And then we're going to see a slow march towards just, okay, we want to kill you. How are we going to do that? You know, this is oftentimes one of those like little bit troubling parts. Is, you know, let's kill the solo mage. So you're going to want to probably dissolve the Sunfire. You know, get at least an acid ball or a rust, or an acid ball and a rust, I guess, just to deal with the armor, and then you can sort of let your creatures do their work. I mean, Zod, he has, you know, the Ballad of Courage. That's gonna run out soon. You know, I mean, it's a song, so I guess he could extend it. But I mean, he can only get so many hits, so he's gonna have to really think about specifically what does he target, and then 2, what does he do with his 28 mana? Because if you're spending at least 1 action punching something, that's your main action. So if you try to do like a Bear Strength, that's like 5 mana, but you still are generating a lot. So how do you, you know, as a solo mage now uses? And what most players do is they just do like attack spells. Yeah, that sort of thing. That being said, the Gorgon Archer does roll 2 weaks against the Siren. This is why Gorgon Archer is just an amazing creature. Because now there's another layer of complexity for Zot where his punches are just weak. This is a big move here. He's going to spend 14 mana. And he is going to Tsunami. Very nice play here. Tsunami, of course, being unavoidable, especially good against the Gremlins. And this could actually really clear up a lot of the mana in the field. That being said, this one does not... I mean, it deals 1 damage, actually. Okay. He's going to roll against himself, rolling 1 die. And he doesn't actually... It does push himself. So the question is, where is he going to push himself to? He's going to go with his wave. Okay. Next up, Blue Gremlin in this next zone here. Does not push, but deals the damage. Very unfortunate there. You really want the ring when you use this spell, by the way. He might not have had time to get it out. Another damage, 2 damage, and a push going on this Gremlin, pushing him up. He could choose wherever he wants, but I assume that they just know. They probably have a voice chat right now. It looks like we're going to see 2 damage go on this Gargoyle. No effect. 2 damage. Holy cow. Wait, what happened to this? 3 damage in the Archer, no push. The jelly does get 0 damage and a push. Looks like they're trying to do all their rolls in one. That is a dead gremlin. Did he not roll against himself? Maybe I missed it. He does get a push and 2 damage on the wizard. And then another 2 damage on that. Very nice tsunami here. He has to do the mana shard, I believe. There we go. Tons of damage from that mana shard. On that mana shard. Getting 4. Or 3, I should say. Nope. 4. There we go. Not sure why that's not automating. I think they're just manually, because honestly, automating this is such a mess. Because it just like rolls it all at once. You have to decipher it. And we're at 2 times, so obviously they're doing it slower. But that did change some of this battlefield a bit. Is it enough? I don't know. I mean, Zach could tsunami again. And we see out of Keejchen a renewing spring of his own. Definitely a meta card. So now this is, again, another layer of complexity. I mean, Zot, I don't think has the ability to deal with this and not die. So I think Keejchen's just going to get free drinks out of it and free healing out of most of his dudes. And, you know, he could go after the mage right now, but why not just secure your victory by healing and then having your unhurt guys just dealing damage? It looks like we are going to see Zot play his weapon out. Keep in mind, Zot does have 2 weeks on him. So, I mean, it affects both Wave Blast and the Thrust. So it's kind of an interesting thing that's going on with that. So I guess we're moving the next round here. I mean, Zot's at 43 life. Again, that economy play of that Sunfire that we talked about in the beginning of the game. Almost, I mean, gaining 13 out of 30. Like, starting at 30. That's insane. Question is he going to be able to use his mana efficiently? He's at 10 mana now. Because this Trident is actually really expensive. It's because it combos with the ring really well. And range attacks are stupid expensive. But, I mean, that melee alone is actually really good. That being said, I mean, these Gremlin, he's fully healed. This Devouring Jelly, he's probably going to die, is my guess. If I were Zod, I wouldn't let him live. If he does live and attacks, he's just going to start healing. I mean, this Gorgon Archer, I could see this Gorgon Archer being teleported and shooting, or just drinking. I mean, regen 2, do you really have to drink? I don't know. And, of course, this Gargoyle Sentry, probably going to drink. You know, I see no reason not to. If you're above 3 damage, you might as well drink. Just because you, like, on average, will heal 1 for 1. And what does Keejchen do? He's at 18 damage, mana, 5 damage. I mean, you could drink and zap. You could zap an attack spell. You could zap and creatures. You could punch in creatures. He's got a lot of options. Probably mitigating this in some sort of way is also good. So, I mean, like, Keejchen kind of has just more options, I think, of how to counter what Zot's doing. That being said, we're moving into the action phase. No one's doing quick cast. Interesting. No quick cast here. Keejchen, of course, dissolving this Trident would be an option. So that's going to enchant himself. We see a Nullify go down. And we see a Ballad of Courage get nullified. Or a Mongoose Agility. Ah. He wanted to get out of there. Interesting. So right now he is hindered. Does have a Ballad. He probably wanted to get past guards, really. I don't know if focusing on the wizard would have done a victory here. That being said, he's going to roll 4 dice. So again, he's at 4 plus 2 minus 2. Rolling 3 damage is pretty good. The Gargoyle coming back and not rolling any. So that means the Devouring Jelly is going to get to attack. He only has to deal 1 damage. Does not deal a damage, but he gets a Corrode out. Free Corrodes is insane. I don't think he was supposed to remove damage here. Maybe I'm wrong, but he inflicted 0 damage. And it says when you attack and damage. I don't know if 0 damage actually counts as dealing damage. Anyway, we see a bunch of other attacks go on the Siren. Siren's up to 9 damage now. Keejchen is going to get out an Arc Lightning elemental wand. So this is designed to basically say, I'm going to daze stun a solo mage, because daze stunning solo mages basically can win you games. Love the play here. Getting 3 damage off of that. This is kind of where Kira's favors better, because you can reroll the effect roll. But I don't think really Keejchen's going to complain about that. I mean, this is just good damage. We could see a lightning ring come out. Don't know if it's worth it or not, but I mean, now Zod has to think about dissolving this. He has to think about mitigating the weaks, mitigating the corrodes, while dealing with getting additional weaks and corrodes. And then on top of that, things are just taking damage from everything. I mean, Zot still is getting additional life, but this is... I mean, we're seeing Keejchen transition from an economy building play to a just, I already built what I have, and now I'm winning with these immediate cheap plays to sort of like status effect you to death, because I've taken you out. Really interesting play. That being said, we're going to start this game, this quick cast, with a quick arc lightning, dealing 3 damage and getting a daze. That daze is so brutal. It means you have to use your main action for your quick cast if you want to attack spell something. The jelly is going to go and attack, dealing 2 corrodes, reconstructing 2, of course. Reconstructs 2 life and removes 2 damage. Interesting. And Keejchen's going to add 2 back. It's because I think he regen last time, and so he's making up for that. It looks like they caught that mistake. We are going to see the Gargoyle go in, dealing nothing. Blue Grum's going to go in because that piercing 1, he finally gets that extra damage through, because he's at 4 damage, piercing 1, of course, letting that go through. Keejchen's going to start just messing with the equipment, getting rid of that Sunfire Amulet. So now we're seeing a lot of the early, just pretty much all the early game stuff is gone now. We're purely into mid. I would say we're almost into late game here. Siren's turn. Using the quick cast first, because you got to get rid of... Well, interesting. He's got a daze on him. So, question is, what are you going to use? Are you going to risk some sort of daze play? He is going to... The Shallow Sea going down. He's going to leave the zone and come back. He's going for it. He has a daze. We'll see if that actually affects anything. He does roll a 1 and completely misses. And that's why Arc Lightning is so good. If you play a wizard, I highly recommend the Arc Lightning wand. I love it personally. We do have the Staff of Storms as a promo to just enhance this further effect-wise. Yeah. And this game it's becoming just solid in favor of Keejchen. Keejchen's at 5 out of 32. Zot's at 19 out of 44. We have the 3 corrodes in 2 weeks. I mean, I'm not seeing how Zot's going to make it out of this. And, honestly, this is pretty typical of a Leviathan play. Usually games that I see Leviathan, really work, it's when you see Leviathan late game. Like right now, it's 25 mana. I mean, it's a whole play, so I can't really judge that. But like when I see Leviathan come out, like after a whole shell play and stuff like that, that's when I tend to see it work better. But that being said, the solo opening Leviathan, if you've never faced it before, it's pretty harsh. And I'm kind of like saying that Zot's just like dead here, but I mean, I guess it is possible he makes it out. I mean, he's going to spend 2 mana plus the cost of removing the corrodes, getting rid of those corrodes, but those corrodes are free. He's just going to keep getting him. And of course, we see the stun go down. Super brutal because he only has 1 main action. So he can still cast spells, but he knows all of his guys are safe now. And of course, rolling ridiculously high damage as well. Getting 4 of that through. That stun is so brutal. And this is like... I remember playing this kind of wizard back at Gen Con 2014. And it's just like wrecking people. That being said, we're going to see this jelly go back in. He's not going to get any corrodes down, but he does reconstruct 2, putting him at 3. We're going to see just the damage coming in from all the creatures around. We're going to see Keejchen just say, I'm just going to start armoring up. You have 17 mana. Let's just ensure my victory more with armor. The claws go in, rolling 1 less damage, of course. Still getting a crit in. And oh no, Zot's going to not do anything with his stun. It's so brutal when you don't have a non-spell spell to cast. A non-attack spell to cast. That being said, he's going to regen 1. He's at 27 out of 44, so, we're at half. I'm sorry, more than half. Well, that was like really off. 22 was half. I need to drink more of this coffee that I have. This is some coffee from down the street, by the way. Something about getting like store-bought coffee is just refreshing because you get a walk out of it, things like that. Anyway, going into this round, Arc Lightning to start out with gets another stun, and this is exactly why Keejchen played this Arc Lightning. I mean, it is such a good spell, and I actually recommend it in not just Wizard, to be honest. It's usually hard to pay for it though. That being said, we're going to see this Jelly go in. He's just going to try to stack these corrodes. He's going to keep healing up. And he does. He does all that. He gets damage, gets the corrodes in. He's just going to say, or Zod's going to say, okay, I'm going to get rid of this stun by enchanting myself. Wonderful play here. And then we're going to see a quick spell, a Surging Wave go down. He's probably been waiting to cast Tsunami and just can't. That being said, he does manage to push this Jelly. That's actually really nice. Because it is a slow creature. And he also slams him, so the daze happening later is going to be really nice too. Galvanize does get cost, giving the melee one, trying to mitigate this damage here. And we're just going to see the piling of damage. I mean, this game is over. I just don't see how he's going to make it out of this. Keejchen saying I can just summon my own creatures now. Totally fine from this. We're going to see the Gorgon Archer get into position to start dealing damage again. I mean, these weeks coming in, that's going to cause, of course, that complexity problem that I was talking about earlier. And I'm pretty sure this game is over. That's just a lot of thinking going on. And we are going to see the Force Hammer go down on this Archer. I don't blame him. He's going to roll below average, unfortunately, here. But he does get the slam. So that's going to be that is going to matter. The Arc Lightning coming in, not dealing the effect roll. Interesting. Getting 0 damage. I guess he's going to get 2 damage. I don't know why he rerolled that. Maybe he's just trying to end the game. Fireball is going to go down against that Gorgon. He really wants to kill that Gorgon. It's extremely difficult to kill these guys, actually. They're, like, probably some of the top tier guys. I mean, I think they're the same level as what, the Lightning Knight. I forget his name right now. I think they're the same level, maybe one level lower. That daze is going to work from that Thought Hammer. Thoughts. Force Hammer, so well played there. That being said, we're going to see just the hammering of attacks from just various creatures out of Keejchen. I'm just paraphrasing here because this game is pretty much over. We're going to see a Zap go in. 7 damage out of that 4 dice roll. And the game's over. Zot GG's out. We have a Dissolve in his spell. He's basically going to counter anything that Zot might do to give him any edge. Such as wands, things like that. That's it. That is it. Let's go ahead and pause this here. I guess it's over. Cool. So, yeah. This is actually a really interesting game. Buddy builds, they've been hard to work with. You probably see them the most out of Holy Mages and Jark. You see it out of Force Master too. But super interesting to see. Yeah, this is a playtesting tournament. So if you guys have comments, balancing issues, things like that, this is kind of the time to talk about this. We're really hoping that after this playtesting, this game is going to be complete, and it's going to be 100% the perfect game ever made. So anyway, you guys all rock. Thank you for joining us. We are going to have another playtesting tournament that we should be announcing that soon. So, this is releasing, I think it's Saturday, 10/3, October 3rd. So we're probably going to announce it next week on Thursday. So if you watch it before, what is that, 10? What is that, 8? Just if you want to have another tournament, we're going to be having another one in October. And again, we're going to have the same prize here where you could win another set. And you can participate. So you guys all rock. Thank you for joining me. I'm Coshade. And, keep playing some Mage Wars.